sure that everybody is going to be safe while we are utilizing these methods. Some of these safety methods include staying on the same side as your horse handler. That way she will be able to pull his body away from me if he decides to act up. Another one is never being in the horse's blind spot for too long. So you're going to want to be walking around the front of the horse if you're doing any sort of procedure. I'll be discussing several other safety measures that we'll be taking as I continue with the demonstration. The methods I'm going to be demonstrating today are going to include the basic halter and lead rope. I'm going to be doing a chain shake. I'll be demonstrating a lip twine. I will be demonstrating a lip chain. I'll also be doing a shoulder roll, a leg lift, and I'll also be demonstrating how to apply a twitch. And then I will go over a short section on different methods of chemical restraints. You want to remember to always start out at your most basic and least severe level, and that is going to be the halter and lead rope. As you can see, we already have this on Decker. You'll put that on him before he comes out of his stall, such that you can control him when he's out of his stall. The wider the straps are going to be on the nylon, the less severe the pressure is going to be, and so it's going to be gentler with wider straps. If you need to, before stepping up to any of the methods I'm going to demonstrate, you can even step up to a simple rope halter, which will put a little bit more pressure on their pole and face. So the first method that I'm going to be demonstrating is going to be the lip twine. You can use this as a piece of rope or a piece of twine. Twine is very easy to find around a barn, so if you have no other options, it is very good for utilizing in a quick situation. Additionally, you can have pre-prepared sections of rope that have a little loop on the end so that you don't have to tie a knot and you can just simply put it through. The thinner your rope is, the more pressure is going to be putting on the gums, so you want to make sure that you have a good amount of rope and it's not too thin. You can even braid a couple pieces of twine together if you want to make it less severe. So first we're going to come over here. I did mention safety, that the handler should stay on the same side as what I am. However, for the purpose of this video, so that you can see what I am doing, she will just stay on the same side. So first we're going to attach the piece of rope. You can do it at the bottom rung on the halter, and we're just going to attach it through here and put it through the hole. If you're using twine, you can just use a basic square knot. Doesn't really matter what knot as long as it stays. Next, I'm going to hold the excess in this hand, and I'm going to come around, and I'm going to bring it through this ring. So I'm going to hold the excess in my hand here, and I'm going to put the rope on my fingers. I'm going to come over to this side because I have better luck doing it here. And I'm going to bring my fingers up underneath his gums and gently pull down on the rope and just place it along the top part of his gums. You're going to keep a gentle downwards pressure so that you are not pulling up and hurting his gums, but it's not going to slip down and he's not going to be able to spit it out. I'm going to take it off. I'm just going to bring it out, bring it back through, come around and take it off. The next method that I'm going to be demonstrating is going to be the lip chain. For this, you're going to need a chain shank, and you're going to want to check and make sure that the length is sufficient for the horse that you are using it on. Another important thing to remember is that when you are applying it, you're not going to want to have it looped around your arm such that if the horse pulls, your arm's going to be caught in it. So instead, you can have it draped over without any loops. So, some horses do not like the sound of a chain being put on their halter, so you're going to want to learn to do this smoothly and fairly silently. So what we're going to come over and do is you're going to be running the chain through the rings on the halter. For the lip chain, you're going to be running the chain down. We're going to pull it all the way through. And I'm going to hold it over the top of his nose here as I come around. And I'm going to keep it smooth and flat so that when I go to put it on his gums, it will be laying flat. Next, I'm going to bring it up through this ring on the halter, and I'm going to snap it to the top ring. We don't want to be snapping it to the bottom because then the snap can be getting close to the corner of the horse's mouth, and that can do some damage and make the chain less effective. So instead, we're going to clip it up here with the snap facing out. So I'm going to pull the slack out, and I'm going to put my fingers through it. I like to keep one out so that the chain doesn't slide down. And we're going to come, gently lift up his lip. I'm going to come around here, and I'm going to gently pull down to make that chain go up and lay against his gums. We want to make sure that it lays flat and it is not digging in. To remove it, we're going to simply release the pressure and bring it back up. I'm going to come around and remove it, unsnap, bring it back through the rings, and all the way out. The lip twine and the lip chain can be used in the same situation, and depending on who you talk to, they may disagree on which one is a little bit more severe. Some may believe that the chain is more severe simply because it's metal and can dig in a little bit more. But a twine, if it's thin enough, it can put on more pressure on the gums such that it hurts the horse. So as long as you are using these methods safely and properly, you are not likely to do damage. The next method that I'm going to be demonstrating is also going to be utilizing the chain shrink. And this is simply what it's called. It's called the chain shrink. I'm going to come over here, and this method is used a little bit differently. Instead of going down through the ring, instead we're going to be coming up. We're going to make sure the chain loops around the nose band of the halter at least one time. We're going to put it through the other ring on the other side and then fasten it to the top here once again. We're going to want to be quiet with it as much as we can once more. In order to make it go over and loop around the band, I'm going to come from the outside and go in and up. And I'm going to come over, and I'm going to bring it down across the nose band, and this time come in from the inside of the halter and come up. Like I said, I'm going to fasten it up here with the snap once again facing out, and I can come around and pull out the excess. As you can see, there's quite a few links showing right here. Your ideal length is going to be between 2 and 5 links. So since it's longer than that, we are going to shorten it. We're going to come around once again, pull out the excess. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unclip it, bring it up through the ring, and then clip it to itself. It doesn't matter what method is used as long as you continue to try and keep the snap aimed outwards. We're going to come back around. And as you can see, that's about 2 to 3 chain links, and that is a much better length to be using. You want to keep a light pressure. You never want to tie up a horse with this, as it can severely harm the cartilage if he decides to pull back and he is tied to a solid object. You can lead a horse with this method, and you can use it for holding him for the farrier, for sorts of vaccinations, or even bandaging and clipping. So to take it off, we're going to come around here. You're going to unclip it, run it through the ring, and there it's off. The next method I will be demonstrating is a rope twitch. There are several different other types of twitches besides this one. There's one called a humane twitch, which we do not utilize here at William Woods University. It can be used alone, but care needs to be taken when using that because you can lose track of time and it can remain on for too long. There's also something similar called a chain twitch, which looks like this, except it has chain. When you're using that, you need to remember that the chain will only smoothly twist one way, so you're going to need to know which way the chain will twist before you begin, so that you can quickly and efficiently get the twitch on your horse. Here at Woods, we use a rope twitch. As mentioned before, when talking about the lip twine, the thinner the piece of rope, the more pressure it's going to exert. So you want to be careful about how much and how thick your rope is. If you do not already own a twitch, you can make your own using an axe handle and some rope. The important thing to remember when choosing your handle is how long it is. The longer the handle, the more control and leverage you're going to be able to use with the horse. And you're also going to be able to get a little bit further away. You're not going to be right up underneath them when using it. Another important thing to remember is you never let go of the twitch after you have applied it, or else then they have a very long wooden object swinging from their head and they can knock you out and you can become seriously hurt, as well as other individuals who are working on the horse. So to apply this, we are going to come up to his nose and we are going to gently grab the muscle around it. But before we do that, you need to know how to hold the twitch. Some people try and put it on like this with all of their hand through, but then it can simply slide down your wrist and you can't get the rope off. So you need to remember to keep at least 1 or 2 fingers out, your pinky and your thumb most likely. Some people have more luck putting their thumb through as well, but the pinky will block it from sliding down your arm. Another important thing to consider before we put the twitch on is how long you can have a twitch applied. The first 3 to 5 minutes that a twitch is applied, it is simply providing a distraction. There's no real physiological changes that are happening, but after 5 minutes, endorphins begin to come to the area and provide an analgesic effect, and that goes on from between 5 to 10 minutes. 10 minutes is the max I would ever apply a twitch, because within the 12 to 15 minutes, that is a stage that is known as the blow stage. This is after the endorphins have worn off and the twitch has now become very painful for the horse and they do not want it on their face anymore. I'm now going to demonstrate how to properly apply the twitch. I'm going to come to Decker's off side. I have better luck applying the twitch on this side because I am right-handed and it is an easier angle for me to achieve. We're going to come and we are going to grab the nose right in between the 2 nostrils, that area there. As I stated before, you want to make sure that your pinky is on the outside of the rope. You're going to keep the handle underneath your arm. You're just going to keep twisting until it is applied. You're going to always hold with 2 hands, and to release, you simply untwist. And that is how to properly apply the twitch. The next method that I'm going to talk about is not one that we do here at William Woods University, but other people within the industry will occasionally use this. This is the ear twitch. We do not use it here at William Woods because if done improperly, you can damage the cartilage and the nerves within the horse's ear, and that causes irreparable damage, and it can cause the horse to become head shy. This is done when you grab the ear and you twist it down to restrain the horse, and there are very sensitive and delicate systems within the ear that we do not want to damage, so we will not be using it or demonstrating that technique. The next technique that I'm going to be demonstrating is called the shoulder roll. I'm going to come around to this side so that you can see. When you're using this technique, you want to make sure that you don't have like a lot of jewelry on your hands or long, jagged fingernails that can hurt the horse's skin. What you're going to do is you're going to come up and you're going to grab a piece of his skin and kind of fold it into itself. And if you do it properly, the horse will bend his neck and body away from it. This is a very easy technique to use as you do not need any tools, and it can be done very quickly and very safely to momentarily distract the horse, such as if you're giving a vaccination. So I'm going to come up here, just going to grab some of the skin and pull and release. Do that again. method I'm going to be demonstrating is the leg lift. Important thing to remember about the leg lift is we are always going to be using the horse's front leg, as the hind leg is a lot stronger and it can easily escape our grasp. If a person is working on a front leg, such as during bandaging, and the horse doesn't want to support its weight, I will come over to the horse's other front leg and lift it so that the horse has to support the weight on the leg being bandaged. If a person is working on the horse's hind leg, you're going to be working on the same side on the front, as a horse can usually stand on diagonal pairs and it won't work to pick up the opposite side. So I'm going to run my hand down his leg, and I'm going to get him to pick it up like he were doing a hoof, and I'm going to grab the hoof and point the toe up, just kind of creating a smaller distance between his elbow and the foot. You're going to keep your knees bent so that you're able to move with the horse if he tries to escape this. And you're going to use both hands to cup the hoof. This technique can also be used during clipping if the horse is trying to dance and move his leg away as you're trying to clip the foot. Another style of restraint that can be used is chemical restraints. However, you want to either be really experienced and confident while using these, or have a vet administer them. There are 3 different drugs that we commonly use here at William Woods, and those are ace-promazine, rompin, and etomidin. You can apply ace and rompin with either IV or IM. If you apply it IM, it's going to take 15 to 20 minutes for it to take effect. If you apply it using IV, it's going to be more like 5 to 10 minutes before it takes full effect. And for both ace and rompin, you can use 1 to 4 cc's. You're going to want to take into account your horse's breed and size when you determine how much you're going to be administering, and you can have your vet help you determine that. For etomidin, you can only apply this IV, and once again, it'll take 5 to 10 minutes for it to take effect. But for etomidin, you're going to be using a much smaller amount. You're going to only be using 1/4 to 1/2 of a cc when using it on any horse. Once again, you will take into account your horse's age and size and breed before you administer this. You want to always use a chemical restraint last, if that is able, because there are hazards when you are giving drugs to a horse. There is one more category of restraint, and that is a verbal restraint. Obviously, this does not provide any physical restraint. However, it can change the demeanor of the horse slightly. With a horse who is young or perhaps nervous about whatever is going on, you can talk in a quiet, soothing voice. However, do not overdo it, as this can make some horses even more nervous. With a horse who is acting obstinate or headstrong, or even a horse who is very well trained and is just not quite feeling it today, you can use a sharper, more commanding voice and just get them to pay attention to you once again. Once again, I would like to stress the importance of safety while restraining a horse. If somebody asks you to restrain the horse for them while they're performing any sort of procedure, you are now responsible for that person's safety. If you are administering a twitch, you need to make sure you do not let go, or that can create a very hazardous situation for anybody. So you need to be extremely confident in your ability to perform whatever method of restraint you are going to be using. I hope you learned something from this video, and I'd like to thank Jackie and Decker for joining me, and I hope to see you again.